Hey, 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 what's up?
Not much.
Sweet, sweet, yeah. So, yeah, this is the debate, yeah?
I mean, it can be, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe.
debate, I guess. Yeah, I'm seeing that there. And, like, what's all the blue? Is that, like, what you believe in, or is that, like, what you want to debate?
It's just stuff I believe in.
Oh, fair enough, fair enough. Sure, sure. Before we start, though, you're not one of those people who only listens to people who 100% agree with you, right?
No, it
Fantastic.
would it it wouldn't be a debate then.
Yeah, yeah. No, I get it. I get it. It's just sometimes you have a spare 5 minutes, you see a debate live, you go on there, you say one thing, and then they block you, kind of deal, which is
I mean, it really just depends on like what is said. As long as it's not something that is like really bad and like detrimental, then sure.
I just made fun of a some white girl for saying all white people were racist by saying, "Oh, so you're racist," kind of deal.
Okay, that is kind of
People
funny.
like that. Like sometimes you can't help but take the piss out of them. Even as someone like me who doesn't actually believe in like politics or any of that bullshit. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm
Wait,
not
why don't you believe in
politically
politics?
like personally, like I'm okay with like I'm grand with people like caring about politics. I personally don't, and I don't like it when people say that I should. But but
Wait,
like
wait,
there
no. Why don't you care about politics?
well, a lot of them seem pretty USA based, and there's definitely fuck all happening in my country when it comes to politics, so I just don't see why I should care.
Well, I mean, if you don't, you might not do politics or like politics, but politics sure is doing you. And like,
Hey, yeah, 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 yeah. Nobody's doing me at the moment, sir.
oh, that's unfortunate.
Don't be talking about
But
nobody doing me.
hey, that's an
My
unfortunate
girlfriend's
event.
not even back
Okay,
from work, man, and you're already coming on to me. Shit.
no, I'm just
I'm
saying,
kidding.
like,
I'm fucking with you. I'm fucking with you.
no, I know. I was playing along. When you talk about when you say that like you don't like politics or what have you, and you don't engage in politics, that's just I mean that's kind of weird to me because like regardless of where you live in the world, there is something political that is going on that is affecting you or the world around you in some way, shape, or form. You can't just stick your head in the sand and say I'm just not going to participate because whether you like it or not, you're still getting like screwed over or benefited one way or another through politics. So
Oh, it's
it's
happening, and
just
I'm not denying that it has an effect. I just don't want to partake in it because
you
it's so
can't you
volatile.
can't do that though.
I mean okay, I'm trying to explain to you. I mean the discussion. I mean political
Oh, the discussion. Okay.
discussions, debates, all that shit. But that doesn't mean that like I'm anti politics. It just means I don't align myself with either side of the spectrum. Do you know what I mean? Because like I there's a lot good about both sides, and there's a lot shit about both sides. Do you know what I mean?
Okay,
So
so
it's all
what's
about kind of finding the shit that like more aligns with your morals and like
okay,
what
so
you
like
believe would be like the end result of like a better world or whatever. But there's
right.
just so much going on at the moment, and it's so polarized that I don't wanna like be a part of either. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, politics are real, and I have experienced the effects of them. Don't you worry about that, sir.
So
But it's just
do you mind if I ask like what
go
are
right
some
ahead.
of the what are some of the things that like what are some of the things that you what are some of your like I guess values? Like what are some of the things that you would say that you value in like
Mm.
the world or like society?
Okay. Communication is a big one. Communication. Uh Information, like being informed about shit before you form an opinion on it. You know what I mean? Like not in like you don't have to know everything about everything to have an opinion on something, but I do mean like there's a lot of bandwagoning these days, and a lot of different groups are being polarized and turned against each other. Everybody's generalizing each other. This collection of bad experience represents this whole community. This collection of bad experience represents that whole community. And I just feel like nobody's looking at the individual anymore. They're looking at the categories they fall into, and I just think that's really sad. But I also
Well,
feel that we're
I
being
mean
taught
people
in other groups to coddle and kind of adapt instead of finding a happy medium between. I don't know. It's just like there's this weird struggle at the moment between expression and feelings. Do you know what I mean? Feelings are really kind of a delicate subject matter these days. Everything needs well, I wouldn't say censorship, but I like I feel like feelings are prioritized more than
So if you
expression
say
these
so if you say
days.
something is so if you say something is like feeling, right?
Yeah.
So people are prioritizing feelings. So you would say that you prioritize more of like, facts then?
Oh God, no, 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 no. That'd make well, yeah, facts, but like not in a kind of fucking Ben Shapiro. Who's the fucking spastic screaming outside? Give me a moment. Oi. Sorry, I live on a very public street.
No, you're fine. So
Right.
you would say that like you compare that you value more of like, objective facts or like things that can be proven, basically,
Oh no, 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 no.
data
Like
statistics.
facts are good. Facts are good. I don't mean like oh
Well, you
no,
said
no,
that
no, no.
everyone
I
you
think
said
this
everyone was
usually
concerned
like
with
this bit
feeling.
comes up in the yeah, no, no. I just mean more so in like expression of like I'm more into less into politics and more into art, you know? Not in a pretentious way, more along the lines of like media or, social media, uh, anything like that, or just the way like people communicate and shit like that. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, sure. I suppose I
yeah,
know what you mean.
yeah, and I just feel like I don't understand why everything needs to have politics injected into it. I don't understand why certain communities need to have certain, I don't know, certain triggering things completely wiped from fiction instead of,
Can I can I ask you a question?
having the agency to avoid that themselves if that's not what it's for. But that doesn't mean like generally, like obviously there are the big ones, like um, I'm not a, I'm not like, what's a good example? Like I wouldn't compare the N word. Like that's a big one right there, right? The N word. That's a big fucker. Okay. Now I wouldn't look at that and I compare it to some other triggering phrase to a different community. Do you know what I mean? Because everything is based in
Yeah.
some kind of history. But I feel
Okay.
like where we're headed at the moment with the feelings of certain groups being prioritized, and I'm saying this as a member of the LGBT community, okay? You got to remember that because apparently that's supposed to matter in this debate. I don't like that it does, but
I
uh,
mean,
yeah, it does. So
okay.
yeah, I don't know. It's
So
just like I
can I
feel
ask
like
can I
everything's.
ask you like
Go ahead.
what are some forms of media that you enjoy? Like what are your favorite like do you like comic books? Do you like video games? And if so,
Oh
like
fuck
what
no.
are what kind of things do you like? Like what are some of the things you like to do?
Hmm.
What are some of your favorite like TV shows? That's a good one. Tell me some of those. Like
Oh, you know how your mind goes blank when somebody asks you what you like.
yeah, yeah, I know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Fucking, Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, um, The Boys, uh,
Okay.
Invincible's pretty good. It's a bit more comic booky
It,
than
it
I'd
was
like,
it
but
was a comic book for the longest time. It's been out for actually decades. Okay.
yeah, that might have been why it didn't really gel too much with me. But like, it was still good.
Okay.
More into movies than TV shows, to be honest.
So you don't so when we look at like let's take the boys, right? I'm glad that you said that because me and
Mm.
I just got my partner interested in the boys too recently.
Oh,
She and I were watching it.
congratulations!
Yeah, we're like at the beginning of season 2 now. So we're I haven't seen season 3 yet, but she and I are watching it and everything. It's going great, right? So when we look at the boys, right? When we who makes, you know, fiction and media, right? It's other people, right?
Yeah,
So when you ask the question, why is it that politics has to be um, put into everything? Well, first we understand that politics is essentially the discussion. I would say, in my own definition, condensed the discussion or discussions about the rules and ways in which we govern and dictate life in society, essentially,
hmm
is kind of how politics works. You take people's feelings and like, their values and what have you, and like compare those to society as a whole to see where people fit, and then people vote based off of those feelings and those values and all that stuff, right? So like when you ask the question of why does politics has to have to be in everything, it's because politics is essentially how we live our lives in a way, kind of. You know what
I
I mean? Like,
suppose, yeah. I'm. You know what? I'm probably gonna have to say I definitely could have phrased that better. I don't think when I said in, I don't think I
it's all
meant.
right.
I didn't really mean in our shows because obviously everything these days is based around politics because
Well,
politics is
it's
what we're
always
living in.
been. It's
I
always
mean,
been
it's
like that.
yeah, yeah.
It's hard to
As long as
deviate
there's
from
always
that.
been a governing system, there's always been power,
Yeah,
But I suppose
people
what I'm
can't.
trying to say here is along the lines of like, why is the discussion around media the same way the discussion around politics is, if you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
if
why is
I,
politics in everything? Because in many cases, I can't go up to somebody that is engaging in racist behavior and
mm,
explain to them how the ways in which they're being racist. I can, but in many cases, it's probably not going to stick because either they A want to be racist or B they don't understand the ways in which they're being racist and how that might be negatively impacting those around them. But what I can do is write a really cool story about opposing factions and opposing sides. And like one side is regular people, regular quote unquote people, or considered regular quote unquote people, and the other side is considered, mutants or mutant society.
mm.
And then I write about within these stories and within these tellings of like the struggle and conflict between these two sides. And then hopefully people take that and then they see that it's very similar to the ways in which things play out in everyday life and society in a way, right? Like
Oh
if
yeah,
I
no,
want to
no.
get a
I
point
feel like
across,
I'm not communicating it properly. That's not what I have a problem with. No, I believe that like fictional allegories for real life shit is very smart, and I definitely wouldn't. Well, I wouldn't really want to ban anything. I wouldn't want to get rid of anything. That's not kind of what I
right?
believe in at all. Uh, I don't know. I think. Well, I don't know why the TV shows that I watch would be super relevant in this conversation because obviously I don't have a specific taste. I've watched just about everything. But I guess what I'm trying to say here is that like I see a lot in society and on the internet whenever I get a chance. It's always just people going, okay, this is suddenly okay to like, this is suddenly not okay to like. You shouldn't like this. You're not allowed to like that because of my and the people like I'm categorized with our sensibilities because of our kind of shit. Do you know what I mean? And like for something that would be like let's say a racist propaganda piece, right? Like for that, I would
Well, I mean,
definitely
we
understand. Or like
we
an anti-gay kind of propaganda piece or whatever, I would definitely understand. But I don't know. It's just it seems like
Well, it's
everything
just that
has to
as
have.
we continue, we live in an era of information. We live in an era of the internet. We live in a time where if you want to figure out something, the big book of tell me why called the internet will just tell you what that is if you just look it up. You
Yeah,
can
the
find a
internet
YouTube video.
ain't a great place for that, to be honest, man. If I'm being 100% serious here,
You said
uh,
what?
the internet ain't really a great place for
I mean,
that.
I think the internet's great. There's pros and cons to everything, right? Like there's gonna be like my car is a really fun, nice car, but it's also got a couple rust spots on it. But it gets me to point A from point A to point B, but it doesn't have AC. But I can put a makeshift fan in there, but there's
I'm
always a
not
but and there's
really getting
always
the
a
analogy here, but
there's always ups and downs to things and what have you. You gotta in many cases look at the positives, but if with a lot of things, it's more along the lines of we become more educated and we see more things and learn more things and experience more things, and as such, that starts to shape society as it starts to shape people because a society and a collective is made up of individuals and you know singular people and what have you.
Mm,
So
mm.
it's just more
I
along the
just
lines of
realized
we learn more
while
things.
we were talking about this, your comment section is talking about some completely different shit. Like there's
Yeah, I don't
there's a
know what's going
war
on in my
going on.
comments right now. It's funny. I don't know what's going on in my comments right now.
Holy fuck, dude. I'm sorry. Fuck.
No, it's cool. It
That's
happens all the
terrible.
time.
Uh-oh.
So, like, you know, it's just one of the lines of we. There are some people that are really super, super, super like sensitive to a point where it's like really cringy, and they say and advocate and do like wrong shit that they should not be saying, doing, or advocating for, or what have you. Like that happens. But in from what I've experienced, it's mainly just that like we've just we have come across many different, new things that change the way in which we view society and the world and what have you. That's just how it seems to work and how it seems to happen.
Yeah, I just wish it didn't. You know what I mean? Because it's not about like the discussion or the discourse. I mean, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. I would never want anybody to take someone else's a right to their own opinion away from them. Do you know what I mean?
I
Like,
mean, yeah,
I
but
guess like that's where the
it's
whole non-alignment with the whole political spectrum comes in. Because like I'm all for personal liberation, right? Absolutely, absolutely. And simultaneously, I am also very anti-censorship, very anti-guiding of what your morals should be, trying to like shift people in certain directions without giving them all the facts. You know, the blatant demonization between groups depending on what side of the political spectrum you align yourself with, it's fucking nuts. I mean, like nobody can like objectively well, they could if they wanted to, and that's fine, but in my opinion, I don't see what's disagreeable about the fact that these days, um, when it comes to politics, it really is one of the most polarizing kind of talking points in the world.
I mean,
Oh, your
yeah,
comments
because
don't believe
again,
my voice is real.
we're
That's really flattering. Thank
well
you.
again, we're talking about, rules and guidelines for like society. If you don't do this, you're going to go to jail. If you do this, you're going to go to jail. You're going to be cut off from your family. You're going to be cut off from everything and everyone you know and love and all this other kind of stuff. Like it's just when how do I explain this? Um
Yeah, take your time, man.
it's it's one of those things where, it's hard, yeah, to keep hearing about it all the time, but it's necessary and it's important. Politics is polarizing because, again, it's the rules to which we govern and live by in a society, essentially, is what it is. So, like, when you say, oh, I just don't pick a side in anything. That's I don't understand how anyone could just not pick a side because again, regardless of whether you want, and we've already agreed that this is happening, regardless of what side you take, and regardless of I see your request, regardless of what side you
Yeah, yeah,
take,
yeah. She's after me.
and
Yeah.
and regardless of where you align, the thing is politics and stuff like that is like it's still happening and it's still going on and you're going to be affected by it. And the thing is, regardless of if you agree with whether or not you, regardless of whether you say that you're on the left or the right, or if you want to say you're in the center, which no one, including you, I'm sorry to say this, no one is in the center. If we took everything that was remotely political, every remotely political value, such as abortion, Second Amendment, race relations, all that stuff that has been deemed political by society, and we take that stuff and the way in which you view and align your personal alignment and your personal opinions on each one of those topics, and we put it in a blender and press the button, you're going to align somewhere on the right. You're going to align somewhere on the left.
Bro,
You're
take my
going.
opinions out of the blender. They're the only things I have.
What do you say?
I'm just fucking with you. No, I get what you mean. I get what you mean. And
Like it's
look,
just
I
it's just.
understand the idea, like, and I understand the perspective that uh, not wanting to align yourself with any specific uh, side of the political pendulum can look like you're sticking your head in the sand or you're turning a blind eye. But in my case, and I just want to make this 100% clear, believe me, I'll be fucking off pretty soon. Your woman there, she's been waiting long enough. Um, my deal is, right, is that I believe that there are a lot of values from both the left and the right side of the political spectrum, right? But within those political spectrums, there are also, on both sides, things I do not agree with, things I don't agree with. And so if I were to align myself with one or the other, I would be essentially, polarizing myself from a certain percentage of my own values in favor of aligning myself politically with something. And I just don't really feel like I could respect myself. But if you don't believe that I consider myself or, uh, well, whether I consider myself or whether I am not politically aligned and that somehow is invalid, that's an opinion you 100% have the right to. So, I'm not going to argue that. But unfortunately, that's the way it is with me. And, regardless of anybody else's beliefs, that's the way I live. And it's working out pretty good for me. So,
I mean, all right. I mean, if that's how you feel and that's what you want to do, then I mean, that's how you view it. I mean, that's how you view it. Sit here and change. I can't sit here and change people. I can't sit here and tell you that you have to believe A, B, and C or what have
oh,
you. I
Jesus,
mean,
even if we could change people, why would we? That'd be bollocks.
I would like to not, I would like to make it to where, racist people are no longer racist. I would like to change that. I would like to change misogynist from being misogynist. I would like to change, you know, just bigots in general from, I would like them to no longer be bigots. That would just be
Yeah,
a
in an
net
ideal
positive for
world, I guess.
everybody.
Yeah. Mm.
I'd like for people to believe in climate change. That seems like it would be a net positive for like literally everyone.
In an ideal world, I guess, yeah, but polarizing opinions and like different opinions and personal autonomy is what makes life interesting. So if I live day to day and I realize that there are people out there whose minds I just can't change, I don't think I'm gonna be losing sleep over that. It is a real struggle, but
I mean,
without the
I don't
struggle,
lose
where'd we
sleep
be?
over it, and I understand it.
Yeah.
It's what it is.
I get you. I get you. Listen, man. Listen. You've been very mature, and this is honestly probably the first actual mature debate I've had on here. I'm like a borderline troll account, dude. I make entertainment like shit videos. So, this was actually
I kind of
interesting.
got that vibe.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, cheers. Uh, anyway, I'm gonna let your one here move on up to the box. Cheers, man. I'll talk to you.
Thank you.
That was an interesting conversation. I would like to put that on YouTube and see what some other people have to say about that conversation.